All right, so previously we've looked at view groups, and now we're going to look at mute groups. Now, mute groups are pretty much the same as view groups, or at least they're operated in the same way. Um, the only difference is their function. So with view groups, you click on it, it shows you a list of channels for that group, and then you can sort of manipulate them and do whatever it is you need to do. But with mute groups, if you click on a mute groups, it doesn't show you a list of channels. It will mute all those channels. And that's something to be wary of when operating within Masterfader. The only time you'll be able to actually see them is when we go into assign, but rather than jump ahead, we'll sort of work through it systematically. So, as before, I've already set up a series of mute groups, and this is what they are. But then there'll be a couple down here that I haven't set up, and we'll use these to do our setup. So essentially, as I said, there we go. So essentially, as I said, I've activated the mute group for the vocals, the vocal channels. Okay, which means anything that is within the vocal channels will be muted. Okay, so as you can see here, channels 5, 6, and 7 are the vocal channels that I've set up in that group, and those are muted. One thing we didn't mention when we looked at view groups was the fact that if you look underneath here, you see these 6 items here. These bottom 6 here are actually for mutes. These top here are for view groups, and I think these are subgroups or VCAs. One of them is VCAs, one of them is subgroups. So this will tell you underneath here, if that's flashing red, it'll tell you that all these 4 here are assigned to mute group 1. So without having to go into the mute group and going into the section to see, if you go into assign, come here and see, okay, what's under mute group 1? It's drums, it's channels 1, 2, 3, 4. You can actually see it directly from here by just looking over here and you say, oh yeah, all of these are assigned to mute group 1. If the problem is happening within these, I should just hit mute group 1 from here. Boom, done. Okay. Mute group 2. Again, similar thing. These are all assigned to mute group 2, so you'll see them highlighted there. If I go here to instruments, let's have a look. Let's see what I've assigned. Also, channels 1, 2, 3, and 4. Channels 15 and 16 are instruments. So, in order for us to see them, let's close that. Scroll across to 15 and 16, and boom, that's 3. These are mute group 5. And these are mute group 6. And some of these are also mute group 4 as well. So 4 and 6 are going to do that. And it's fine. Sometimes you'll have backing vocals, and then you'll have all mics. So you can assign the same channels to multiple mute groups, depending on what it is you want to mute. And that is still fine to have them assigned to multiple. Similar to the view groups, if you select one, the other one gets removed. So you can only mute one at a time. That way there can be no mistake. Or if you wanted to mute multiple ones at the same time, just hit multi-select, and you'll see there you can just mute a bunch of them at the same time, and that's fine. Okay. Now, we left these 2 here blank, so we can do exactly what we did with the view groups, so just to show you how to actually set one up. So if you select 5, and then go into assign, well, it should have taken me into 5, but it didn't. It left me on 3, but that's fine. You can come here and you can say, let's do this properly. All mics. Choose all mics. Once that's done, and you'll have them all selected. I think that's a mic as well. We'll just choose those as mics as well. I forgot which one are the other mics. So yeah, choose all mics. Boom. Now we know we've got that muted, and it's muting all the channels we'd selected. So we think we selected some back here, and then we've also got some ahead here as well. And you'll see they're muted, and that's all well and fine. So that's how you'd actually set them up. There's your multi-select. And if you wanted to remove all muting without having to physically come here and do one at a time, just hit none and boom. That's all done for you. Multi-select will remain ticked. Um, and if you come out of it and go back into it, it still remains ticked, I think, until you finish the actual show or you untick multi-select, so that you don't have a situation where you need to multiply select multiple mute groups. Oh my gosh. And you can't do so. There you go. That's mute groups in a nutshell. All right. Peace.